Thanks for tuning in to the Prosperity for America channel. Today we're going to talk about preparing for an interview that's face-to-face with a potential employer. A lot of this, really get nervous about this. We want to do as best as we can. We want the job. Sometimes we want to find out things about the position itself to make sure that we really want it. But the truth of the matter is it doesn't matter if we really want it if we don't actually get an offer. We have to do well enough to get an offer. And so today we're going to talk about things that will help you have a better likelihood of getting an offer. And it does begin with preparation. First of all, what you really want to do is learn more about the company. In today's world, that's a lot easier than it used to be. You would want to go look at the website, see what they make, see how it's made, see who they sell it to, see how much their annual sales are, if it's available, if it's a big enough company where there's some public information on that. And then what you want to do is think about some of the questions that you might be asked that are related to the position that you're interviewing for. But let's talk about some basic things first. First of all, arrive a little early. If the interview is for 10 a.m., get there about 10:02. Reason being is they might give you an application to fill out. You want to look like you know how to work on time. That's actually huge, to be honest with you. These days, just being able to work on time has become a real selling point. So one way that you could be someone that's just not talking about being on time is to actually be on time and even be a little early. And from there, what you want to do is bring 2 or 3 extra copies of your resume. The reason being is that during the course of the interview, if they get serious about you, even if it's a face-to-face interview that's your first with that company, they might want you to meet a couple other people. It's very wise for you to have 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 resumes with you, that as you meet a new person that you'll be interviewing with, that you could actually share your resume with. Now, if you listen to our other resume tips and how to get a better response to your resume, the resume that you bring to a face-to-face interview should not be the same one that you post online. The one online should be one that has everything but the kitchen sink. You don't have to worry about it being 1 or 2 pages, because how people find you is through keyword searches these days. So you want to make sure you've really been thorough in what you post online. However, what you bring to an employer should look nice, should look professional, and it doesn't have to have a whole lot of fancy formatting, but it does have to have some details that really talk about what you have actually done at your positions. So really, actually, most positions, it's all about skills verification and also how you handle yourself. All right, so that goes right into dressing appropriately. Now, that does change by the position. Obviously, if it's a management position, a suit is still the thing you should wear, and a tie. All right, it's if you want to have a chance at getting a 6-figure position, you kind of need to look like a person that's worth 6 figures. Now, if you're applying for a position in the factory or out in working where you work physically, just wearing dress pants and a dress shirt. In other words, showing up in jeans and a t-shirt is really not a good idea if you want to impress somebody in an interview. You do need to give it some preparation in the form of dress that makes it look like this position is important to you, not just in between things you just sort of stop by. You want to make sure that you feel this is a special moment, and one of the ways you do that is by showing that you have prepared a resume, that you're on time, and on top of that, you look very professional, even if it's casual clothes, or as they say nowadays, business casual. Now, as we go forward through things, basically what you want to do is pay attention to how you present yourself. You don't really want to look unsure of yourself. You don't want to look arrogant, but you do need to be confident in what you know how to do. And if you don't happen to have experience in a certain facet of the position, one of the things you can do is, rather than just say, I've never done that, and go quiet and wait for the next question, what you can do if you haven't done that particular thing is talk about how at your prior position, even though you were there for a year or two, you had been asked to do something you had never done before, and you did some research, you looked into what you needed to do, and you figured it out, and you actually enjoy when that happens in a position, because this way you from time to time will face a new challenge. And that's how you want to package that answer, rather than just giving them that dead silence that, no, I've never done that before, and then just wait for the next question. That's just not the way you want to go. So some real more basic things is make sure you go alone to the interview. There are people that do some strange things with interviews. I know it's sweet to bring a child, but it's really not going to help you that much. It just simply is a distraction for you. And so I wouldn't recommend it. If you have no other choice, maybe you ought to set up the interview for another day. Be aware of your strengths. Be aware of your weaknesses. A couple of very common interviewing questions are, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And basically, think about what strengths you have that are consistent with what the job is, and be prepared to talk about them. And it's good, it's really recommended that you have some stories to tell with those strengths. Meaning, if you really say, if you're asked, what are your strengths, and you just say, well, I'm really good with software development, and I'm really good with Excel. That's all right. But if you really wanted to actually impress them, you say, well, I'm good at Excel. For example, on a number of occasions, I've been asked to do some really complex formulas that will total out and maybe have different pages on the Excel spreadsheet that go into different facets of the project for project management purposes. And I'm really adept at that. Now, a great question to ask the employer is, if I were the person chosen, how would you go about evaluating whether I was doing a great job or not? Because I like to make sure that I am. And I think that's just a great question to ask. All right. If you were hired, ask them, if I was the person chosen, in the first 30 days, what would be the priorities that you would want me to focus on to learn first? Or if I already know how to do them, which ones do you want me to focus on, because you have needs in those areas that will be critical right away? Very, very good question. If they have any questions about your qualifications, at some point it's good to ask if they have any questions about your certifications, your education, any previous experience, just so that you could clear up any misconceptions if there are any. All right? So, things to avoid. Actually, you really don't, if you really don't want to talk about salary or hourly rate until after you know you're the one that they want. I know there's been lots of interviewing books written about how to negotiate a better salary or a better rate of pay. And truthfully, it's amazing to me, but they very seldom say, wait to talk about money until after you know you're the one that they want. Because that's when you're going to have the most leverage. It's just that simple. Once they've decided you're the one that they want, they are going to be all about wanting you to be happy because they want you to join their operation. Before that, it's just a parameter. It's just something that they kind of want to know so that they're staying within their budget. But see, once you've established that you're the one that provides that extra value, that will bring that extra spark to the position, you've got a little more room to work with. That's when you want to talk about money. Questions that you really don't want to ask is, what time are my breaks? Am I allowed to smoke? Where can I smoke? Those are not things that are going to help you get a new job. There are things that maybe you want to ask the morning you start, all right? But not as part of the interviewing process, all right? It just makes you look weak, is what it does. Now, as we go forward and look at things, make sure that as you're leaving, that you let them know that you're interested in the position. And what I mean by that is, You really don't want to play coy about that. What you want to do is let them know that you, now that you've met them, now that you've seen the facility, you would really like to work at this company, and anything that they could do to help you get a chance to work here would be much appreciated. And it's really not good to play coy at all, as I said earlier, but it usually just doesn't come off well. The best way to get a better offer is also to make sure that they feel that their company is the #1 option for you, the one that you really want. Some people will try to sometimes say, well, I have another couple options that are, maybe a little more paid than this perhaps, or some phrasing about other options. Again, what you want to do is talking about other options might be something you talk about after you have another offer, after you actually have a physical offer, and you might want to try to see if you can talk it up a little bit, all right? The goal is actually to get an offer. That's when you can actually start to evaluate if you need to ask for more money or more benefits or something, more vacation time. That's always after the offer has been given, not beforehand. All right, I think this is something that we all face at some point in life, and any way that we can help, we'd really love to try to help. So to feel free to talk to any of our recruiters about this subject, even if we're not involved with the actual interview that's taking place. We always like to find a way to help people. We just think that it's a great way to do our jobs, is to make sure that we're helping people no matter whether we find them the actual position or not. So have a great day, and please tune in to the Prosperity for America channel. If you would like to subscribe, we'd love that too. So have a great day. Bye.